will be trained in
Okay.
all those areas. Media, they will be able to go into any areas in media, whether it be urban, whether it be country. They'll be able to work in terms of inspection, whether they're doing high power tension wires or whatever levels. They'll be able to work in the telecom. They'll be able to do the security. They'll be able to do the crops. They'll be able to do all the majority of it, even offshore. Offshore,
Welcome back to another episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast, where we talk about all things drones and how they're being used in the Caribbean. Now, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know that I'm an advocate for operators in the region having access to formalized drone training. And my guest today is attempting to do just that. So I'm joined today for a conversation with Dr. Ancil Peters of Advanced Solutions Technical Institute. Now, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the internet because the internet works well until you need it to work well, but we got it sorted out. Enjoy this week's episode. All right, Dr. Peters, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast. How are you going?
I'm okay, sir. I'm okay. Everything is good.
All right. Dr. Peters, for the persons who, may not be familiar with you, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience for me?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Those of you that are listening, whether it be Trinidad or any parts of the Caribbean, my name is Dr. Peters, and I am the CEO of Advanced Solutions Technical Institute in Trinidad and Tobago. And I let everyone know that we have branches, or we would say that we have satellite centers in Jamaica, in Cayman Islands, in Barbados. We have British Isles. We have a few islands well that we work closely with, and our focus at our institution is more tech voc. I would say technical, vocational, or what we will call TVET. Our main emphasis and our main focus is in the area of technology, ICT, security, telecommunications, and all the major areas in wireless, fiber optics, data communication, and the list goes on. Also in drone technology. My background hailed from I would say, a long thread of expertise. I started off in IT at the university, and then I branched off into education and research because my desire was more to work in the area of education and consultancy in that particular area, bringing guidance and perspective to young people. And I moved into some key areas in security. I moved into some key areas in relation to drones, technology, and electronics. And I guess it's from there that I started to develop an inspiration to begin to train and teach. My concerns has always been the fact that we have institutions, we have universities, but that practical element, that was a troubling factor for me, or big gap in terms of education. So myself and a team of us came together and we decided to move into this particular area, what we would call TVET, or vocational studies. And today I'm here. Again, my background specialty is in education, technology, and business. So at this point, this is who I am, and this is where I'm at this point.
Okay. And how long has the school, so the school is ASTI, as Advanced Solutions Technical Institute. How long has that been around?
We have been around for the past, um, it's about 17, 17 to 18 years. It could be much more because initially we were advanced solutions before, and under advanced solutions we did more professional training, more professional development. I mean, the list goes on. We started off in that particular area because we were first distributors before. We used to sell
Mm-hmm.
fiber optics, we used to sell data communications and security elements. And then one day we decided to say, you know what? There's so much demand for these type of peripherals, these type of products in telecommunications, but there was nobody training. And we just
Right.
decided to just step up and just decide to say, you know what? Let's start something in this area. So I say from that point on, as advanced solutions, the advanced solutions technical institution, it would be around 18 to 19 years.
Okay. And so what sort of courses are you guys offering today?
Oh, it has a very very big list that we offer. We specialize mainly in courses in fiber optics. This is some of our main core courses: outside plant, fiber optic design, fiber optic engineering, splicing. We offer
Mm-hmm.
courses in data communications. We offer courses in security. We offer courses in wireless technology. We offer courses in IP camera systems. And one of our main subject matter is in the area of drone technology. This is one of our hyphen programs that we offer. But anything in the area of tech voc, we do cell phone repairs, we do access control, we do face recognition. I mean, the list goes on in terms of the areas of technical expertise, but our main focus is in those areas.
Okay, so it sounds like you do a lot of specialized industry training.
Yeah, yeah, we do a lot. We cover the majority. I mean, everything in areas in terms of sustainability in any electronic field, we
Mm-hmm.
offer hands-on training expertise in those areas. So it's not like somebody's coming to our institution and just studying fiber. We have all the equipment layout. We have the fiber optic equipment where they are able to come to learn to splice, where they can learn to terminate, where they can learn to install the fiber, where they can understand how to work in the cabinet, how to work within the
Right.
splicing enclosures. We did some really key work with Digicel over the years. So we did training all over Jamaica. We did training all over Antigua, and St. Lucia. We trained the majority of technicians throughout the Caribbean and in Trinidad here. We work directly with back then would have been Sierra. Now it's Activo. We trained over
Right.
100 or 200 students in the area of FTTH. So
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about what we offer, our programs are very, very, very hands-on, and in terms of when students or companies or individuals come to our institution, they have the ability to learn and not just learn, but leave here with a skill base, being able to go back into whatever given areas that they work in and be able to practice and be able to perform.
Right. So as somebody in the world of technology, right, you know that, what is the newest thing this week couldn't be the oldest thing next week. How is it that you guys stay current in the courses that you offer and the curriculum in terms of the offering?
Surprisingly that you asked that, that was one of in our drone program. That was one of the discussion that we had, a question that was asked. How as an institution or as an individual that we stay
I
abreast
lost you for
of
a
what
second there.
happens in the
Actually losing
industry?
you right now.
Who do we connect? We have very close ties with manufacturers in
Yeah,
areas
I
of
just
technology where there's a
lost.
demand for it.
I lost you for a couple of seconds
Yeah.
there.
Yes. Hear me out?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
have very, very close tie as an institution. 80% of our program basically offered in direct provision and relationship with the industry. And I
Mm-hmm.
say that to say it gives us the cutting edge to be able to stay in tune as what is happening next, because the manufacturers are the ones that basically the innovators are the ones that determines and says, look, we are coming out with a new Cat 5, or we are coming out with a new strand of fiber, or we are coming out with a new technology in CCTV. So we have a direct relationship with them, and there's a constant interaction between us as an institution that always keeps us abreast as to what is taking place and the changes that is taking place in the industry. And
Right.
with that knowledge, with that understanding, we are able to implement it and focus on developing our own curriculum within the
Mm-hmm.
institution. So with that, when students come and study with the institution and they leave us, they're not going to go out there and be lost, because half of the times what takes place within the classroom is not necessarily what is happening in the industry. So we
Right.
need to stay close to the industry. So that question that you asked, the answer to that is that our relationship and our bond with the industry is very close. Our curriculum is developed with that participation between us within the classroom and the industry focus. So we're able to bring that reality and that relevant training to individuals and students.
All right. So let me get into the industry now. The my industry,
Yes.
the drone space. How is it that you guys got to the point where you tell yourself, okay, this is something that we need to start doing and went about looking into?
Yeah, I think that I'm happy that you asked that because people ask us what's the original thought, what's the original idea in implementing drone. First of all, I will say we are the first institution in the Caribbean to implement such a program. So let me start with Trinidad first. We are the
Hmm.
first like of its kind to start a program like this. And the genesis of this didn't just start to say, well, look, there's a lot of bunch of drones out there, so let's just come and just decide to start a program. No, it took me 2 years. 2 years to really implement a program. I mean, in interacting with the industry, interacting with our stakeholders, going out there, doing our own individual research and looking and see what are the demands, looking at it from a different landscape than what is being done in Trinidad, and begin to look from an international landscape, what is being done in America, what is being in New Zealand, what is being done in the Caribbean, that be Barbados, what is being done on a wider scale. And we had to bring that information back and literally benchmark it and see whether or not, not judging from the factors that because they're doing it, we're doing it, but looking and see there's a demand here. Because when we look at the technology, we begin to see the usage of it, and then a lot of people are using it, but there was no avenue for a person to be professionally trained. Everybody was talking about FAA, and we know that FAA in itself, you have to be a citizen of America to be able to do it, or at some point you can do it, but the validity in Trinidad, you still have to come back here and do some sort of foundation training. So we started off by doing a lot of research, and with that research, we brought it back in, and we decided to say, you know what, there's a demand for it. Just as there's a demand internationally, locally, there's a demand here because we found out when we did the research that there was so many drones in Trinidad. There were those who were using it for media, there were those using it for survey, there were those who were using it for all different reasons. But everybody was asking, where do we go for training? We have to fly to the States, we have to fly to England. And we decided to say, you know what, we're going to fill that gap. It wasn't about money for us. It wasn't about the factors of the dollars. We just wanted to know at the end of the day that we are able to fill that gap, to fill that need, and to begin to give us that training that is equivalent to global standards. Not just the fact of just saying, come and fly a drone. No, we wanted to start something that measures up with the FAA certification, with the European certification, with the English certification, and whatever we bring here, it met that standard. And we had to do more investigation, in-depth investigation, in terms of working along with other industries. And those industries would have been some of the manufacturers of these drones, the different industries, those who use the drones, and the other part of the industry is the educational industry, that those who endorse these types of training. And after we covered all that ground, we were able to start our first program in those particular areas. We started off with our intro to drone technology, and then our certificate as an operator, and then we implemented the license, or what we will call the operator's qualification to be able to operate in this particular area. So I think for us that is where the genesis of everything started from. It was born out of a demand. It was born out of a need, and we realized to be able to make it proactive and to make it what we will call sustainable and constructive and measure up with global perspective. We had to do our internal research and external research, and being able to work along with the other stakeholders and the industry to bring this program to surface.
Okay, so we have a lot to unpack there. So, all right, so let's start from this end. So you mentioned the different levels that you'll offer. There's a certificate, and then you mentioned a license, right?
Yes.
When we look at
Mhm.
Trinidad specifically, when you use the word license and we look at our drone laws, it speaks to one, but there isn't a licensing system that has been implemented. So when you say now,
No, there's not such a license.
right, so when you say now that you guys are offering a license, what exactly are you offering?
There's license by certification, and the FAA have their operator's license.
Right.
All right, and that comes through the government agencies. But
Mm-hmm.
there is a license, or an operator's operation license, that comes through certification. So, for instance, we have fiber optics. We offer fiber optics, right? So when we offer that program, and you come and do that program, then you are licensed as an operator to tell your employer that you have met the standards as a designer to be able to operate in this particular area using all the acronyms that goes along with it. to
Right.
be able to operate in that particular given area. So
Mm-hmm.
our license only is more focused on the operation aspect and not so much from the license that the FAA will give or the government will give and says your license to work in the whole world. That license only to work in that given area as an operator.
Okay, so you compare that to fiber optics, and fiber optic might be a little bit different because I know that when it comes to things like fiber optics, we have global standards, and global, keeping it in the same terms, licensing standards for something like drones. I
Mm.
I don't know that we have global licensing standards in that area.
There's no license that are global.
Right. So,
Hence the reason
mhm.
why that
No.
okay.
So how is it now that you uh tie that together in terms of your offerings to, because yeah, the way it sounds is that you are now able to cover
Mhm.
different things that are topics that are recognized in different areas.
Yes, and kind of brought this key for the license aspect is that a lot of people believe that when they come to do this particular training, it's just about drones. It's just about flying drones.
Hmm.
And it's not about just flying drones. The subject matters that it covers are very, very, very wide in that particular area. So that kind of justify the reason why we give it the word a license because of the subject matters that are covered within the program itself, especially if you're doing the operator's license aspect of it, because it's not just about flying a drone. You could come and just hold the drone and just fly it. No, we cover areas in media, environment, technology. We cover the area of agriculture, technology. We cover the areas of missions. We cover the area of rescues. We cover all the major areas. I mean, for instance, let's look at a subject matter like if you're an operator and you are called to spray crops, let's put it this way, you get a call to go New Zealand or you get a call to go St. Vincent and they using drones to spray. Now, if I'm saying that I'm calling you as an operator, yeah. Hello? Yeah, you hear me? Right. So you come to do the job, all right. So you want to spray, all right? Yeah, you come to do the
I
job.
lost you
All
again
right.
for a
So you
second there.
come to do the
Yeah.
job and you want to come and spray. So the person say, yeah, I can fly a drone, and they come and
Yeah,
take the drone and they start say, oh, look, I want this acre to spray out. So this person put the chemicals in the drone and they decide to fly. That's not the type of training that we offer. Yes, you would have the ability to fly drones, but you need to understand the ramification in terms of what is required to be able to accomplish that job effectively in a given area. So it wouldn't just be about flying. You have to be able to understand soil intake. You have to understand crops. You have to be able to understand seedlings. You have to be able to understand mapping. You have to be able to understand the environment. You have to be able to understand what type of chemicals. So within that program that you are studying, these are some of the legitimate areas that will be covered in the program. So the person say, "What about flying?" Yes, you could fly, but you can be a danger to yourself and it could be a danger to the environment. So when people say that you teach drones, it's not just about flying. So for instance, you go as an operator and you want to fly. You take it up and you begin to fly, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't understand the chemicals that are being used. You don't understand it's poison, first of all. You don't understand how close the building is to, the site itself. You don't understand how to map that. What are some of the requirements that are required when you spray in a field? How low the drone can go, how high the drones can go. These are some real intricate areas that are not covered by a normal person who basically is a hobbyist or a person who just can say, I can maneuver the drone up, down, carry it to the side and the side. And that's not what we teach. So using the word license, it gives us a stronger ability to use that word within the context of the framework that the areas that you're called to train, that you're literally a specialist in those particular areas, and not just a person that is licensed to fly a drone. It's not just about that. Now we use the word interchangeable at times. Some of my providers say they rather the words operator, right, as a certified operator, and sometimes we tend to use that word even more as a licensed operator or certified operator, but it gives the individual a more legitimacy in terms of his qualification.
Okay. So certified, and we hear the term certified. And if you listen to this podcast, I'm a huge advocate for formalized training in the region, because that's something that we lack, as you mentioned, as well in other areas as well, not just drones. It's something that we lack. But when you come to you guys and you get a drone certificate, what does that mean? I have a certificate, but in terms of recognition, accreditation. Yes, we have accreditation bodies in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how exactly how the process works, so I don't want to say that they can or cannot recognize drone specific or in this industry specific certifications. But when I come to ASTI, somebody from the outside comes to ASTI and they do a course and they come away with this certification slash license or whatever the terminology is you may want to use. What does that mean? So I am a person looking at this podcast and I hear that ASTI offers, you hear me? Yeah, your signal went bad. Right. So I'm a person who looking at this podcast and I'm hearing that ASTI offers drone related or drone industry related courses. And at the end of this course, I get a certificate. But what does that certificate mean? In terms of ASTI has been given this ability to certify me by whom? Right. So we're recording again. Right. So Dr. Peters, where were we? So the question was, when someone comes to the institute and they go through the course and they get the certification that they receive, that you will receive at the end of it, at the end of the period, what is that?
All right. So,
Sorry.
mhm. Yeah. So we have three levels of certification, which is the
Mm-hmm.
intro, and completing the intro program, which is has been fully endorsed, as I said, by Air Tactical. But the intro is more of a certificate of completion. You must be able to do the intro first before you start flying at any level or understanding the technology of drones at any level. So the first level exposes students the foundational aspect of drones and the safety aspect. The certificate level on the whole gives them a more operational foundation. So it means that at the end of the day, that program is recognized with ETA, Electronic Technical Association. That program is recognized with them. ETA is an international organization that offers certification programs in technology. That particular programs give the person the confidence that they are able to operate the drone. It mightn't be to the proficient aspect of it, but gives them that ability where they can operate the drones and they can use it on medium projects, which in receiving that certificate, on the back of the certificate would be pointed out the areas that they are able to operate and to function in those particular areas. Whereby the one that in terms of the operation certification, or what we call the license or the operator, that one is a much more heavier program, and that is recognized by Eduqual. That's a UK body, a UK awarding body that is recognized worldwide and soon to be in Trinidad here. Have been in Trinidad, they have been in Jamaica, they are recognized in Barbados, they are recognized in St. Lucia, they are recognized majority all over the Caribbean. There we have full endorsement with our programs from them at a level 4. The program is also endorsed with the European International University, and that's a worldwide organization also that have looked at our programs and have endorsed it and said, look, we're going to offer you recognition on this particular program. Keeping in mind, the endorsement for that particular level program comes directly from Air Tactical. They are one of the most reputable security company that are strongly involved in drones themselves, and we have had many meetings with them. They have had the opportunity to go through the program at length, and we have had full endorsement from them in that particular program. So when students get that particular qualification, they will know that it has met one international standard, measurable international standards, and the qualification has been recognized by a global body that recognize the curriculum and the structure of that particular program. Now, keep in mind that particular certificate or certification is 8 months long. You cannot come just, that program is not 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That is over 10 exams that you have to do in every area. All right. So that carries a very, very high equivalent. We also aligned it that if they have to go to the states to do the FAA, one of the things that the FAA looks at is the fact is that what sort of drone training you did before, what sort of training that you did before. And I believe that the training that we put the student through will be so immense and so intense that no matter where they go worldwide, that will be a contributing factor, and that will be considered as flat flight time towards any other qualification.
All right. So let's take the different levels one by one. So the first one is you earn a certificate of participation. So we go on to the second one. The second one is endorsed by, you said, EduCall, correct?
It's
ETA.
ETA,
Okay.
ETA, electronic
So ETA.
and European International
So
University.
the certificate that you get is from ASTI or from ETA?
It is endorsed. The certificate can come directly from the university. They can issue that qualification directly from there.
Mm-hmm.
And with ETA, it has ETA logo on it, and it's an ASTI qualification.
You're saying can. So the one that you get is an ASTI certificate or it is an ET?
One of it, yes, one of it is an ASTI
Yeah.
certificate, or
Mhm.
there are students who want the option to get the European recognition. They have the option to get that also.
Okay. And we say an option. Okay. So we looking at this.
Right, there are some
Mm-hmm.
students. There are some students you find that might want to go
Mm-hmm.
Europe. Some of them, we have one or two of them from England, and they know the university very well.
Right.
Right, so they will tend to want to say, "Look, could we get the qualification through that university?" And we will tell them
Okay.
yes.
So just out of my ignorance, why not just do that by default? How come that's not the default issuance?
We try not to. We try to. Um, with ACTT, it's kind of ticklish as a new program. It's very very new in the local market, and one of the things that we look to try to do for the local market is more credibility. And since European International University is somewhat becoming new in the Caribbean, we tend to allow them to stay with the foundation. Now, with the foundation, let me say this: with us, the certificate that they'll be getting, yes, we are also registered with NTA. We are almost half through the process. So once the students do the certificate is ASTI, to get that qualification from NTA, it will not be a problem afterwards. So as soon as that has been fully initiated, the students now will have an NTA qualification to be able to work with locally. But for internationally, for those who are more on the far region, we tend to use those bodies to assess the program, and they can get a qualification from there.
And you said that on the back of the certificate, it basically gives you a breakdown of the different areas that you are certified in. What?
Yes, sir. The
Mm-hmm.
criteria, yeah, the criteria is very, very heavy. Not everybody is accepted in that program. That program is only for 21 years and over.
Oh,
And
so that's not.
when I say 21 years and
Before you get
over,
into
yeah,
the requirements to join the program, I just want to get an idea of what those
right.
different subject areas are that you would now become, that you are now certified in once you do the certificate program.
And that's for the you're talking about the certificate or the operator's
The
license.
second level, so the certificate.
All right, so the certificate. So the areas that they'll be qualified in is the areas of the modules that they would have done. So that person might be able to operate a drone. That person might be able to operate a drone in the area of spraying small fields, small areas, not acreage. It might be an area of a lot or two lots. That person might be able to fly a drone in open fields area. That person might be able to do social media, operate in the media, but not in the commercial area, the urban area, more enclosed area and domestic area. So we tend to identify the areas that person has passed within that subject matter to be able to be an operator. So the next stage to that question is that the way we run the program by units. So we don't just come and say you get a certificate in drone. There might be 12 units,
Mm-hmm.
and these 12 units will cover it into key areas. And if the student pass in two areas but fail in the other area, on that qualification that they'll be getting, they will only be able to be certified to the areas to be able to fly in those areas. They will not be able to certify in all 12, all six areas or four or nine areas that they apply for. So if there's nine programs and they only pass four, those are the only areas that they'll be legitimately be able to
And
fly, not in the other
where did
areas.
those restrictions in terms of, you said things like small farms, not large acreage? Who sets those restriction levels?
I think that the restrictions is determined by the individual that is contracting the person to do a job. So if the person says, "Look, show me your qualification," and the person says, "I want to spray this area here," and that person have 5 acres, they'll be able to see that that person is not qualified to work in these particular areas. It's like going to a licensing office. It could drive a different from a gear and a different from an automatic, a heavy vehicle and a light
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. So once the farmer sees it and said, "Look, we have 2 acres to fly. Could I see a qualification?" Once they look at it and they realize that that person is not qualified for that, then it's up to them to abide by the restrictions and say, "No, you can't operate in that area." Which, as I said, we work very, very closely with the industry and with all the different areas and sectors. And we are educating them in the process that when they are hiring anybody to operate a drone, they should look specifically at what areas that they are qualified to fly and what type of drone they are qualified to
So
fly.
here's the pushback I have for you on this note, right? So this is Trinidad, and we know
Yes, sir.
Trinidadians always find a way to do something that we may not necessarily
Yes,
be
sir.
supposed to be doing. But what
Yes.
then comes into play when the person could say, "Now, well, all right, well, Trinidad do have a thing for this anyway, why can't, and I know how to spray a small one, why can't I spray a big one?" Farms as the example
But
in
the
this
law is
instance.
the law is the law. Just as the yes, the law is the law. Aviation give us laws. We should have a set of laws that they require, and they said, "Look, at the end of the day, this is the requirement. This is what you have to abide by." Anybody can decide to say, "You see me, that height they're giving me, I can go higher than that." It's up to them. But if they get catch, then they would be in problems. Being a new initiation in Trinidad and other parts of the Caribbean is something that is pretty new. We are hoping that not because that might be intentional by a lot of people, which they will break the law, we still have to enforce the law and educate people with the hope that as we go along, that this validity will pick up and people will begin to understand the ramification. That it is important that if they're contracting anybody to operate a drone, that that person should be able to show some sort of paperwork that they are qualified to fly and in what areas that they're qualified to fly. And so that aspect of whether there's a police to stop them, whether there is somebody to stop them, no. We are just dependent on the factors that there are good citizenry out there and there are people who want to have best practices out there, and that once those best practices are upheld, they can find success. If you decide to hire that person to spray a big
Mm.
field that he's not qualified to fly, you read it and you understand it, and that person decided to go and spray, and that poison decided to enter into somebody's home or go into a next person's crop, and that person decided to sue you, then you have that. Then there's total ground to realize that you violated the law. You violated the restrictions that that person is not qualified to fly such a drone, level drone. Now we would hope that over the years to come, if not be very soon, that this all these things can be endorsed. And this is one of the problematic issues we have, not just in the drone technology. We have these problematic issues in all sector. All sector. People have a degree and they believe that, hey, I have a degree, so I can do A. I have a bachelor's, I can do A. And the practices, the restrictions, the requirements, the policies in those areas are not there. So we can just hope that this podcast will be able to reach different agencies, will be able to reach farmers, be able to reach the media, be able to reach all the different sectors, and they would understand that a drone can be dangerous, but it's only as dangerous as how well we are able to understand the laws that governs these drones and the requirements and the policies that is required to ensure that we operate in an effective environment and to ensure that we are protected at the end of the
Right.
day.
And you mentioned the laws and the adherence to the laws, but what is the response to somebody watching this who's saying, well, okay, according to TTCA, TTCA 19, the one that governs drones and drone usage, to be a commercial operator in the media, because media was one of the things that you mentioned as the items listed on the back of the certificate. To be a commercial operator in media, I need to have my drone registered. I need to have insurance to cover the operation, and I need to get civil aviation permission and all the steps that required to gain the permission. Once I have that, if this certification tells me I am not supposed to be off operating, let's say, a specific size event, I'm not breaking the law by operating in a specific size event, because according to TTCA 19, I met the requirements legally to operate in that event.
Yeah.
So was the response to that in that kind
I
of scenario to that individual?
yeah, I think it's a really interesting question. Yeah, it's kind of mix and match there because they are the law, they are the governing authority, but I believe that person is a risk. There are other elements and there are a lot of gaps within that process. So there you get telecommunications to give you the access. You get the aviation to tell you no problem. You get your workplace to tell you, all right, you have the job and you go there, but you're still a risk. And that the gap between that there is that they are not teaching you how to fly the drone. They are not going through the safety aspects of it, right? There might be some areas they will cover, but there is so much more. So for me, I would say that I cannot say what they are saying is wrong. That's the law, and we have to uphold the law of what they require. But there's an aspect of, in terms of operations, that is required, that requires a different level of certification, that requires a different level, a different analysis in relation to that. So I'm saying that whether that person might have all those paperwork, the person is still at a risk in terms of operation. Because when you take in consideration the different elements of safety in flying in an urban
Mm-hmm.
area, you are not just dealing with heights. You are not just dealing with allocation of GI, you are dealing literally with electricity. Now, to say don't fly in the city or don't fly next to a building, all these things are well good, but there are other things that needs to be filled there to be able to ensure that that person operating the drone operated within a risk-free environment and a safety environment. What about the heights? What about the cloud close? What about the electricity? What about the safety aspect? What about I've seen somebody put up a drone and then tie the poplar down, then screw the poplar in the poplar release and stick the person in the face. I've seen that. What about those particular areas? What about a drone in the sky flying? How do I guarantee you that your battery life, you understand the safety of your battery life? How do you understand the wireless consumption in the area? Because I mean, you can move into an area that distort the drone, that cause the drone to go outside. What are the different elements that we need to look at? So while those agencies do their part in allocating and certifying that the drone has met those aspects of regulation, there has to be another agency or another institution that focus in teaching and implementing and instructing people about the safety environment, the wider safety environment, and the operations of the drones.
Okay.
And flying a Maverick is different from flying a Mini. All of them requires a different requirement on a whole. So I think that while I give validity to what the government and what the aviations have been doing, and I did an excellent job, I think it requires that those of us who are institutional in terms of what we are trying to do in training begin to raise the awareness of policies for greater safety and greater understanding of the environment and what affects drones on the whole.
So while you spoke about the governing body and the government and what the effort that they have put forward in the drone industry, given that being whatever it is, um, what is the relationship between your certificate offerings and the governing body for the drones and the airspace in Trinidad and Tobago? So that would be civil aviation in our case.
All right, good. That's a big question, and a good question too. When we are going through the natural process where we are getting our drones registered with the aviation process, and we are going through doing our due diligence with the telecommunication authorities, and right now, as we said, that we have wrote them one or two letters, but they don't basically involve in training of the such, but um, they will make statements as saying that there's no need to be certified to fly a drone either. And I guess that they understand their fears of operations and their responsibility. So we in the near future, very, very near future, we intend to invite the aviation authorities here, the individuals that are directly involved in drones, to give them a first-hand view of what it is we do, what it is we are offering, and to let them be more informed in realizing that what we are attempting to do is in direct alignment to the aviation laws. because that's the foremost. We don't teach American law first. We teach what laws that are governed in Trinidad and Tobago. That's the first thing we do. We edify people of what the work of the aviation and what their interest in this type of technology and what their expectations are. So within the next future, we would be inviting them specifically to come visit us and see the infrastructure, what we have, what we are doing, and some of our goals for the future for drone technology. That's our focus at this
All right,
point.
but as it stands today, how is that? What is that relationship between your your certificates, qualifications, and civil aviation?
It's just a matter of going through the regulations and getting our equipment passed, and I'll letting them know the purpose and the reason as to why we are getting this equipment in the country is the purpose of training. That's as far as it go for now.
Okay, so they don't uh, recognize any of them officially.
No, I don't think that when the last letter we wrote, the aviation said to us that they don't recognize no institution like that unless you're OP, OPR, OP something center. When we did the investigation, that had nothing to do with drones. That more deals with more piloting, flying planes, and different things. But they don't have anything in Trinidad and Tobago that says that they are any sort of authorization that anybody can go to them to get recognition to offer drone training. They don't know that.
Okay.
They are not involved in that at this present point in
Okay,
time.
so at this point in time, the onus is on the institution to
The
basically
institutions.
what is the word? Self-police.
Align itself with the authorities in relation to understanding the specification and requirement and upholding those
Hmm.
laws, and at the same time adding and bringing global perspective in terms of safety and the usage of these equipment in different areas.
Okay. So moving on to there's the introductory, there's the certificate. Now we're talking about the licensing. What is the separation between those two courses? What's different with the license? The
I think there's a big difference. While one give you a lighter perspective to be able to operate a drone, even in a hobbyist area, to work in a school, to demonstrate, to do slight work, the certificate will give you that ability to do something like that. Whereby the operations qualification is a much more heavier program. It's an 8 months program that takes you through a very very in depth study into all the different areas. We're studying weather patterns. You have to study weather patterns. You have to study when you're spraying crops. You have to study crops. You have to understand soil intake, media, global perspective, wireless technology. When you're working in all the areas, industry inspection, whether it be electricity, poles, understanding telecommunications, understanding all the security risk in all the different major areas. So our curriculum covers major, major, major areas. So it's not, as I said, it's not just about coming and pulling a control and operating. You need to understand as an operator that whatever given environment that you are called to operate in, you need to be very aware and trained to operate in that area. It's not just about flying drones. That's why I say our training is not for children. We don't deal with toys. This is responsibility. So, for instance, if somebody contract a operator, they're looking for somebody to fly to do some inspection in a telecom environment. You talk about electricity. So you imagine putting an operator there who could just fly a drone, don't know nothing about current, don't know nothing about high tension wire, don't know nothing about the mapping area, don't know nothing about the size of the pole, don't know nothing about the hands of the pole. All that person could do is fly. That person is a risk. I wouldn't hire somebody like that to do that. But what I will do, I would look for the agencies that offer this type of training and then ask the operator, says, look, first of all, I would like to see your level of certification. Are you equipped to operate in an area like
Mhm.
this? Now, there's a difference in a person flying a drone as an operator and a difference of somebody coming to Advanced Solutions and getting an operator's license to operate. So I guarantee you, all my engineers or all my technicians or operators, whatever area they are called to function, that they are well certified in those areas. So if a person coming to fly in a telecom area, there are questions they're going to ask. Sir, before we fly in this particular area, there's some questions. Do you have a map of the area first of all? I need to see a map. Do you have the houses? How close these houses are attached to these areas? That's two. Do you have authorization from TM to fly in this area? Do we have any sort of do you have paperwork of the various agencies that are in this area? Do you have access to be on this pole? I mean, it goes so much in depth. And when the operator go there and he has all these things in place, he can then now says, good, what we're going to do is draw a GI map of the area. We're not just going to fly. So it means that the student, if you look behind me here, there's a simulation room, a big simulation room here. So before you fly, you fly. So we're not going to put you out there to fly. We put some high tension wires here, and we watch the way you navigate. We don't put you on live as yet. That's the next thing. We put you in our simulation room. You come and you learn to fly, and you have been. And you hear this: before you fly out there, you need to pass this exam first. If you don't pass the internal exam, you are not qualified for the external
Right.
exam. So we put you on this simulator, you pass. So when you go there, you are able as an operator to be more than a person who fly.
Right.
We don't teach people to fly
Right.
drones. We teach people to be
So,
pilots,
uh-huh.
proper,
No, go ahead.
educated, and well-informed operators. That whatever environment that they are hired to function in, they are able to get the right, relevant information and understand the environment and function effectively with their
Right.
drones.
And I don't want to move too far away as yet from the certification,
Yes, sir.
but
Yes.
you talked about the areas that they will learn to fly in and qualify in. So similar to the last level, the certificate, what are some of those areas? And is it similar in the certificate now because it is offered by a different or accredited by a different institution? Is it similar in that you have the same structure of the different areas that you have been trained in listed on the back of the certificate? And what are those
Some
areas?
area we cover little, yeah, smaller areas. The areas that we cover is safety performance. In the certificate, that's a major for us. We do more lighter areas. So you find that there are people who might come to do the certificate working environment where they do a lot of demonstration. That's lighter. They might have people who come into areas who might be doing a TikTok. Good. You might have people who doing areas they might want to operate in a party. They're going to a party with children. They might find some areas where people might just want to take a photo shoot. These are some more lighter areas that we work with,
But this is the
right?
higher
So,
level certificate we're talking about, right?
no,
No,
sir, this is just there's this certificate
no, right.
itself.
So
The,
what?
the higher
Yeah, this is
level.
the higher level I'm talking about. So the last level you
All
gave
right.
an
So
example
yeah,
of some of the restrictions, right? So let me just clarify. The last level you give an idea of some of the limits to which you've been trained under. So you're
yes,
restricted,
sir.
you're restricted to a certain size and certain level of operation, that sort of thing.
Yes,
For the license
yes.
level, what do those limits or conditions under which you've been trained to operate look like?
There's more rigid. It's much, 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 much more rigid, because that's the mother of the house. That's where everything is live
Yeah.
wires. That's live environment, live areas, crops, literally going on the field and spraying, getting opportunity to spray. That's real time. That's real time compared to the lighter usage certificate. So the person who is doing the more heavier training, which is the last level, the license itself, they will be working in more the heavier equipment areas, the industry itself. So the environment that they will have to be trained in is the industrial environment. So there's no limits there. That's where the person coming to get everything. If they're going to do missions, if they're going to work in the area of missions and they're going to be tracking vehicles, they're going to be identifying vehicles at different levels, they'll be working in the given environment. So that will not be the same as the certificate. It will be more in what we call real world scenarios.
And you will, on completion of this course, you will be trained in all of those areas, or are there individual ones that you have to select as you go
No,
along
they will
this?
be trained in all those
Okay.
areas. All those areas. Media, they will be able to go into any areas in media, whether it be urban, whether it be country. They'll be able to work in terms of inspection, whether they're doing high power tension wires or whatever levels. They'll be able to work in the telecom. They'll be able to do the security. They'll be able to do the crops. They'll be able to do all the majority of it, even offshore. Offshore will be a little, even though the simulation covers offshore, there's an additional, what you call an elective will be there that they will have to do as an elective in that particular area. So they will have the license to fly in all those particular areas with an exemption. a little exemption within the offshore aspect
What
of
does
it.
that elective look like? I know you're talking about MySpace, so that's particularly
Yeah,
interested in hearing more
that
about
program
that.
is a very is a simulation program that they must go through. And secondly, we have someone that he's been trained presently. He works offshore
Hmm.
presently, and we have somebody who's an expert in that area to come in and to give us an opportunity to share and to do some training in that particular area of the do's and the don'ts and some of the critical areas, and then we get an opportunity to at least go on a ship, if not close to the area, but go as close as we could and get some demonstration training.
Okay, so there's an organization that you're working with as well, because I mean, I'm assuming that
Yes,
there's a
yes,
there's
sir.
an offshore, well, an
Yes, sir.
offshore related organization
Yes,
that you're working with
yes,
to
sir.
provide that
And
training.
we have one in surveying too. This guy is a specialist in that particular area. He does surveying, so he goes into particular areas that send the drone up, and they're able to map. It's like when you have the surveying, doing surveying, you have a man saying, "Yeah, yeah, go there, go back across there." With this drone technology, you don't need to do that
Right.
anymore. The drone is literally going up and mapping all the particular areas. So we have expertise in our class. Presently, we have a close to about 8 or 9 persons in the fire service, WASA, surveying, offshore, media, telecom authorities. All these are people that we have right now in the classes that are experts in those areas. So students are able to interact and give back at different levels and be able to share their own experience with what they have learned through the program. So a person who comes through that 8 months program is very, very equipped to operate, if not all the given areas of
Right.
operations. And we have different size of drone. We have the enterprise drone, and we have the Maverick. We have the Maverick drones. We have different sizes that they can operate, try and give them the experience how to handle at different
Right. So
levels. Not
I want to
because you
come back
apply
to that
one.
specifically, but I just want to
Yes,
finish off on the license. And so in this level of certification, this is, I don't want to say, as you offer this in partnership with what organization?
but we're the
Well,
same
I don't want to
partnership in
use,
terms of the
yeah, I
qualification.
don't want to use the word accreditation because they're different accreditation bodies. I don't want to use the word, so backed, recognized by what international body?
We have the international EduQual,
Okay.
UK
Hmm.
EduQual. We have full endorsement with the European International University, and we are now going through NTA, almost through with NTA to get that
So NTA
recognition.
is local.
Within the next
Okay.
Yes, within the next year, we plan to go through ACTT. I don't want to talk too much on the air, but we will be going through ACTT to establish a degree.
Okay. So when somebody comes to you and they get, with the exception of, let's say, the certificate of participation, so the lowest, with the exception of the lowest level, when you get the certificate and the license, you are now, I could take the certificate and do what with it outside of Trinidad.
You can apply for jobs in these particular areas. Right now, we have some providers. We are doing some work. Some one of our partners in Guyana just signed a major MOU with them, and they will be doing a lot of training. And there's a lot of demand for pilots there. Cayman Islands, I just saw a big ad coming out for pilots. They're looking to establish them regionally, St. Vincent. So in different areas, people can go and apply their trade. It's different. And just to give you hi, we have a company right now that came to us. They have a drone, a massive drone, but there's nobody to fly it. And they're asking me, they want to send their people, but by the time that they send their people, they want to know if they're trained people. No, there's a lot of guys can fly, which they give it to someone and the person crash it.
Right.
Huge drone, when the person crash it and damage it. So they're asking me, do you have qualified people? So yes, there is a demand out there that people can go and apply and says, look, we can do it in this particular area. We have the expertise, and there are jobs out there they can apply
Right.
for.
But just to be clear, you still have to get, if the area has a drone license, let's say the states, you still have to get a Part 107.
Part 107 apply to the United States, and yes, in geographical
Yeah.
areas or areas of countries that requires that you have some sort of certification. They'll require in each country. It will be very different.
Yes.
In Trinidad is different, FA is
Hmm.
different, England is different because the laws are
Right.
differ. So What they will do, they will consider the fact that you already have the ability to fly, and they will use those points, they will use those credit hours of flying, whether it be 100 hours, 200 hours, and apply it to your application and consideration, and you will get the opportunity to move further into their program. So in each aviation, countries have different laws. You will need to go there to understand the laws basically and requirements to fly in different areas. That doesn't
Okay.
change.
Well, I don't know if that's a new thing or not, but the FAA never asked me a question about my flight experience before Part 107 exam. Um, so, right. So, to be clear, you have the certificate, but you will still be required if you are operating in an area, even in the UK where the certificates are recognized, correct? You would still
Yes.
need to get a
No, let me.
European specific license to operate.
Yeah, because you got to understand accreditation is academia. You're still dealing with the
Yeah, I
industry
just want to make it clear so that people
and the
looking at
industry.
it understand that
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah,
still another
yeah. Not
step.
because you have a certificate means that you can go across in England and just fly. You still have to understand what are their aviation laws
Hmm.
there. So for me, I have a qualification, but when I look at, all right, for instance, one of my partners from England um, offer some training through our school, and the question they asked me, "Do you have any flight time? Have you ever fly before?" That's the first question they asked
Right.
me. I said, "Yes, I fly. I'm experienced in the field." I said, "Okay, all right, no problem." So while it might not be a legitimacy for some organizations to ask you flight time, there are some places that you will go, they will ask you that. Could they require that you have a certain amount of flight
Hmm.
time? Right? And but what they need to understand, the differentiation between an academia qualification does not gives you the right to go in a country to fly. That's just on an academia
Right.
level to prove that you have been trained, that you are versed in the areas of flying, but you still have to go back to that regional government, that regional authority there to get their approval to fly in their country and to pass their regulation law to still do it. What our qualification will do is to aid you with the experience to be able to and the expertise to understand the requirements of other countries and to make it more easier in your transition as you move to get
Right.
approvals.
So let's talk about the requirements for the courses now. What are what are the requirements to register for this course, to sign up and be a part of it?
Which one, the large one or on the
Well,
whole?
give me the general and the differences in between the three different stages.
Okay, so a lot of people will call us and tell us they want to come and do this certification, the higher one. I want to do it. I used to fly as a hobby. The- in order to first of all to get into the institution, you must start at intro.
Hmm.
You have to start at the introductory and work your way up. If it is that you're coming into the certificate, all our standard requires you to have 5 O levels, must have 5 O levels, or work experience, or experience in the relevant field. So it means that for the introductory, you don't need anything at all. You can just come into the program, you can learn the technology, you can learn the safety. Once you come to the certificate, there are requirements. 5 O levels or 21 years and over, work experience or something related to that. So we have a lot of people come in, they fly as a hobbyist. They might not have 5 O levels, they might have one, they might have two, but they were flying before when they're 24 years and over, they're able to come into the program. If you have no experience at all, none at all, you must start at the intro. In order to come into the operations level, which is the higher level, that program you must have 5 O levels required, or as I said, relating field of qualification or recognition, whether it be a degree or a diploma in a relevant field in engineering or electronics, or you come in with work experience at different
Right.
levels. Secondly, in order to come into that program, besides that, you must go through some sort of evaluation. That evaluation is done by an expert in house. Thirdly, you have to go and get a police record. We will do our own internal search and external search. You get a police record, you submit that police record, and then you will be considered to be eligible to take this program. Nobody come into the program just like that. We have to do our due diligence to ensure that you are a qualified candidate at every level, whether it be the academia, because the work is very heavy. The work is very research oriented, very research oriented. Secondly, is a lot of writings, a lot of thesis within the program, a lot of writings that you got to do within the program. So you will need to have a very strong adaptation to your writing skills have to be at a very, very good level, enough level to begin to follow up with this program because we found a lot of people come into the program and they're flyers. They could fly, but they struggle to do the work. When you ask them to produce a research paper, they can't even spell. They have a lot of major issues in this particular area because the job itself, the qualification itself requires you to be in a particular area. And if this area doesn't suit you, that's what the certificate is for. If you're flying fundamentally, there's basic things, you can go there. But once you come in to do this particular type of training, it requires you to be at a particular
Right.
level. After we have done all that assessment, then you will get a letter from the institution indicating that you have met the requirements to join the institution and take part in this. Reason for this, I am not going to, I am 16 years, I can fly. I ain't certifying nobody 16 years. Sorry. 21 years and over. You can get away with 20. When police hold you in Port of Spain or anywhere, they could come and look for me and say, I give you authorization. We're not doing that. Crime. I mean, there's a lot of things that are involved in this. So we are just being responsible. We are nitpicking in terms of what we're doing. And we want to make sure that the people that are being put out there, they understand the ramification and the consequence of breaking these laws. So, in a nutshell, the process can be very difficult to come into the program but very sophisticated. Once you get through, there is much knowledge and much you're going to come out with at the end of the day as an operator. Much more than being able to fly, you'll be able to literally understand the environment and everything else that goes along with it.
All right. And don't worry, you're not to worry be worried about police and coming to look for you if they're out there breaking the law with their drone or with a drone. Pilot in command is the person responsible for
But
the
we end up in a
operation.
situation, yes, I had a situation where, I don't want to say this, but I ended up in a situation where one person flied and it dropped and they did come to us. They did come to us. It went up, all right, and that was just the beginning, the new part of what we didn't start fresh as yet. And it just dropped off of the sky, poof, poof, on somebody.
Mhm. So why they
And
come by
it did
you?
come to us. Well, we were the trainers, we were the initiators. And from there, we begin to understand the need for a lot of areas. At the end of the day, while it might not be a protocol, we just make sure we cover our tracks. It's easy to get
Hmm.
sued. It is easy to get sued. So whether or not it might not be a policy, whether or not it mightn't be something that we should look at or even look at, I look at every single area when coming to drone because I want to make sure that I'm not over excessive, but I'm just enough to protect myself, to protect the institution, and to protect my students, and to protect the operators, and to ensure that we give them sufficient enough to keep them within the perimeters, within the law.
So what does the curriculum of the different levels look like when somebody comes to ASTI to go through the different levels of the course? What are they being taught? As specific as you could be.
As in level one, go through safety. We cover a lot of the safety. We cover a lot of the heavy safety aspect of it. We cover a lot of the flight patterns, and we kind of introduce them to the smaller drones, basically in light repairs. We do a lot of the literally mounting up the drones, understanding the different safety measures from the manufacturer's standpoint to our standpoint. We go through a little coding, much coding with them at different levels, programming, controlling system, and operating the controlling system, navigating the wireless system, the connectivity with the drone. That's for level one. Level two, we cover the same areas, but more in a deeper sense in basically operating the drone, navigating the drone, understanding the wind velocity, areas in terms of understanding the weather patterns, when you should fly, when you should not, what you should look for. We do a lot of repairs in that particular area in terms of battery changes, looking at the areas when a battery is swelling, what you should look for, what are the changes are required. A little more electronics in that particular area, a little more flying with the simulation to teach them basically how to operate the drone itself, understanding heights, understanding the regulation. The laws are very important for both
Mhm.
levels. The aviation laws of Trinidad and Tobago. That's one law they have to pass. If they fail that, they cannot move forward into the program. That goes for all the levels. And whereby the higher version is very, very extensive. Very, very extensive. One slide alone for that program, one slide alone is 100 and something slides just for one unit.
Okay.
And as I said, there is a safety. If you fail the safety, you cannot move forward with the other part of the exam. There are two phases to the exam. So if you fail the safety, you fail the whole
And you're
exam.
saying pass and fail. What sort of assessments we talking about? Is this written? This is practical? What is the assessment
We
process look
do
like?
more for the intro. We do more practicum exams,
Mm-hmm.
more multiple choice exams with a little explanation. The the um, the certificate level, we do a mixture of multiple years, but there is some little research that you would have to do, research papers that you're going to have to do, because really, um, passing an exam through multiple choices doesn't really test the efficiency of any student, whether they have learned, because anybody can pass an
Right.
exam. But when you begin to set the exam in such a way where it begins to conduct them, to begin to explain and to begin to define and to begin to under, that gives them a different, you get a different perspective that they are understanding what is being taught. So that process is like that for the um, for the higher level, which is the operations part of it, is about 10 exams they have to do, which incorporates a lot of research, a lot of multiple choices, and a lot of explanation and thesis paper they will have to do in particular areas that we look for, which includes business plans they will have to do, they will have to do proposals, and they will have to learn to do mappings in particular areas, how to read plans, how to read, 'cause a lot of people can't read plans, right? And understanding the GI area, the geographical area. So we teach more deeper in those particular areas. So it's a very intact program, very wonderful program that really prepares the students to be able to operate at different levels. But as I said, safety comes
Mm-hmm.
first. If you fail the safety program, you do not pass through the program. You have to pass
And that's
that
at all levels.
at all
Okay.
levels.
So you mentioned you have to fly before you fly. So we're talking simulators. Tell me about the simulators that you use as a part of the courses.
We have one primary, we have some free simulators that we're able to get to the DJI, that we're able to get, that teach the younger ones how to basically navigate, how to control
Right.
everything else. They use that even from the certificate level. But for the higher level, the certificates and up, and those who do in the license area, this is one of our rooms here, simulation rooms that we have,
Right.
right? This is a multiple server, big screens that sit on a chair here, and we are able to set all the facilities for them. We are able to stay from one room and set all the conditions for them and have them to fly in those particular areas, set all the maps, all the different obstructions in different areas, whether they're doing on this simulator, we do missions for military, police, car search, crop, electricity inspection. Every area that we teach in, our simulator is able to train them
Okay.
in this particular
Right.
area. So they fly before they fly. So before we take them out on the field, which they go out with a physical
Mm-hmm.
drone, they have to be able to demonstrate it here first. So it's almost that you have to pass here first, because this is an exam too. If you fail here, it affects you in all the different
Right.
areas. So you have to be able to be well taught, well learned, and we don't teach like our certificates are not designed. We teach a whole subject matter. We teach our certificates by units.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Units. So you have to pass every unit. So every unit is an exam.
Okay.
Every unit is an assessment. So you can't come and say, hey, I did an exam there, boy. I get 50 questions and you pass. No, 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 no. No. So if you're doing crop spraying, agriculture, there'll be an exam in that
Right.
area. If you're doing something in inspection into high tension wires, there'll be an examination in that area. If all the major areas and units you have to be tested
Mm-hmm.
for to be able to pass this qualification. Now, for those of you who might hear the rigidness of this particular exam, and those of you who are acquainted with NTA, they are the best. They're not easy. To go through NTA, to get one program approved, takes you over 6 months to a year. And the rigidness of that program that you have to go through sometimes. I mean, they're the best to work with. I endorse them. Anybody that wants to get a program endorsed, NTA, our local brand, is top notch, but it's not simple. So when I come out with a qualification from NTA, I believe that my training has met the highest standard. These people is take you through a process. Oh my God! Sometimes you pull in here because they want to know every single thing: safety, where, how, when, why, where. So go here, no, when, how come? I mean, wow, boy. At times I want to walk out the room. I just want to walk out and say, I don't want to be involved in this, but it's lives you are dealing
Right.
with, and that's the problem with that's the problem. So with as a whole subject by itself that gives me the inspiration. I'm moving away from. I'm preparing to move away from academia, and I'm staying into tech
Mhm.
vocational competency training. I'm moving away. That decision I made yesterday with the board of directors. I've already stripped my sites already, taken on all business programs. I'm not doing anything in that area anymore. I'm going strict tech vox because there's too much problems. We have technology without policy. We have technology without any sort of validity. We have technology with nobody creating the environment for those type of tech. Everybody, yeah. Hybrid come out. Everybody wants to do hybrid, and they're making a mess of the local market. There's a lot of problems out there. You imagine one of the major car industry call us and say the mechanics out there in trouble. We're not getting the type of brand that we want. We're not getting the kind of brand of technician we want because a degree is not the same as competency. And you have a lot of people out there have all kind of big degrees, but they cannot do the job.
Right.
So somebody asked me a question. So why all them exam? Everybody comes to my training, want me to train them in 1 month, and willing to offer money 1 month to give them the operations. I said no. So what I did, I stepped down. I am no longer will be offering high level programs, academia programs again. I'm staying in competency learning because that is what we need.
Right.
So to put all that in a nutshell, our facility is very much equipped to be able to hold individuals. We have about 3 of this or 4 of this with big servers to train and to ensure that people are properly trained at different levels.
You recently, ASTI recently put out, I saw some advertisements where you guys are now offering uh, the simulator access by subscription. Is it the
Yes, sir.
exact same model that you guys, is it the exact same simulator that you guys train on?
Yeah, good question. Yes, it does. To an extent, yes. The challenge that we had is a lot of people, when they come to the school, this is the only place that they can fly or they can experience that simulation. So after navigating with the company internationally, they give us that we broke this software up into
Right.
subscriptions. So while it might be the same version, it might be a different version to facilitate the individual. So what we have gone further now. So if a person wants to have a person come to us and they just say, I just want to major in one area, we can now facilitate training and training in those particular areas. So the simulations are open. So if a person wants 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months prior to studying here, and after they leave here to continue to perfect their trade, we can provide the simulation that can work on their laptops, their computers, and they can learn to fly. We also provide the controls.
Okay.
So we sell the controls also. So as you will know, some of the DJI controls have the embedded simulation in some of
Mhm.
them where they can practice. And then there are those that we have where you put your cell phone,
All right.
you rest the cell phone on top, and you can do navigation there. So we have that service and we provide that too. We provide the drones through some of our suppliers. And we also provide the equipment and the parts in particular areas
Do
also through one of our
do you have
partners.
requirements for persons to get access to the simulator, similar to how you have requirements for the courses?
Um, there might be for the subscription, there mightn't be any requirement because anybody could just want to
Right.
fly, right? You want to buy a subscription. You're flying in your own private zone. You might say, I don't need to come by Dr. Peters here. My aviation tell us we don't need to be certified, but I still want to develop the skill.
Hmm.
They can come and they can apply for it, and we would get them what it is they need to be able to practice or trade up, develop their skill in that particular area, not without the fact of giving them a lecture that the importance of certification is to make your trade viable and to show that you have been through a process of training at some level. But yes, we sell that portion of it, but the military aspect we don't sell to the public like that.
Okay.
The military aspect is we sell to the army, we sell to the police, we sell to the security agencies, not to the wider public.
What's the cost of it?
The cost varies. It varies along if the person wants a license. Could cost them anywhere between 2,000 US. For the server, we set them up, program, train. Some of the lower levels could cost around 1,500
And that
for the
is
lower
per
level.
month?
Next,
That's
uh-huh.
per month?
Huh? No, for you get 1,500 for about 3 months. About $2,000 or 2,500 can be for 6 months, and for 1 year, but 1 year you can get for about 5,500.
Okay. And these are US figures, right?
Unless you wanna sell the license,
Okay.
yes.
And that's US. Sorry, just to be clear.
TT,
Oh, okay. So 1,500 TT, 2,500 TT, 5,000 TT.
5,000
Okay,
TT,
cool. Okay.
yes.
So
So we have, I know we have a lot of hobbyists out there and there are people who buy drones from all over the
all right.
place, and they want to learn to fly. This can be a good solution for them to purchase that and learn to fly their own
Mhm.
personal drones.
So going into the physical aspect of it now, you started speaking about some of the units that you guys have that you offer training on. What are some of those units that persons will get hands-on experience with
In addition to
in relation
drones,
to these courses? Yes, the drone. What are some of the drone units that people will get hands-on experience with?
but we have the Agras, the big ones that with the spray.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Mavericks. We have the Enterprise Matrice. We have those, and we have the other white one. What do you call the white one again? We have the Maverick. We have the Air, and we have the Pro. We have the Enterprise. There's a white one called I can't remember the name of that, but there's a mixture of drones, and we also have the Neos, the mini
Right.
drones. We have a lot of those. So there's a mixture of drones that they will get experts from. And then we have other partners in the industry that have other drones that we partner with and will sometimes come into the classes and give them that experience. So if not, the majority of the industry we have covered.
Okay, so we're talking primarily DJI is the eh, brand that or ecosystem that you'll be interfacing with.
Yes, we tend to stick with for now we tend to stick with DJI. We have other brands that we work with. We have other brands that we work with, but we tend to stick with DJI because of the relationship we have with Air Tactical. They are one of the providers for DJI also, and the endorsement comes through that they're tactical in that particular area. And we are open for other drones. As we go along, we will purchase some other ones. We are looking at the drones, different aspects of drones. We are looking for the underwater ones also. There's a lot of areas. I know we spoke about it. There are a lot of new areas that we want to move into, but we want to stay in this area for now to develop proper validity, proper trust. And we want people to realize that what ASTI is pushing is very, very, very tight, and there's a lot that we can learn from there. We have some army officials that are coming in. We have different people from different areas of security
Mm-hmm.
that are coming in. So our simulator is open now. So next week we're going to be inviting different people to come in to experience it for
Okay.
themselves.
Okay. Hey, I I got a little thrown off there. Sorry about that. Right. So
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
one of the
I just. uh
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just glad for the opportunity to share this because I think at the end of the day, people should get their money's
Mm-hmm.
worth. And that's my thing about it. People should get their money's worth. And I'll tell you something. My problem with Trinidad, or on the whole, let me just say Trinidad alone, but on the whole, I find we have too much of wishy-washy, too much of wishy-washy technology. Everybody talking tech, 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 but there's no really true tech in Trinidad. And that is a deep concern for me. And everything that we do at Advanced Solutions, we tend to go much more deeper than the average application. We tend to go much more deeper than the average program. So at the end of the day, I saw one person flying a drone and sweet flying, and they said we're doing drone classes. And I just sat there and says, this is not what I'm about. People will come and call us and say, but look, they sent for 2,000 there. How come you have it for that price? I said, well, go there, see what you're getting. We stand for quality, visibility, professionalism, and proper endorsement and validation. And first of all, abiding by the laws, not just of Trinidad and Tobago, but we benchmark all our programs to other providers internationally on what they are offering.
one of the things that I've seen as a part of your media for the courses is that you also offer job placement assistance as for persons who partake in specific areas of the program. Tell me how that works and
Yes.
what can somebody coming in who does not
Mhm.
currently have, a job in the industry, what can they look forward to once they're successful with the program?
Very good question. The institute as a whole, we work with Job TT. There are two bodies that we work with presently for all our programs. So what we do job placements. So it's when students come to register for a program or take a program with us, they are registering directly into that system that will provide them that opportunity through Job TT to be able to allocate a proper suitable job for them. It's not just finding a job for them, but that's a small program that they will have to go through to find something that is suitable to fit them, whether it be their geographical location, whether it be in areas that they are more comfortable with. That company work along directly with Advanced Solutions, who we have an MOU with, and they provide jobs for assist them in providing jobs in those areas. And it's not just limited to some of our tech programs. It's not just limited to any one of our programs, even for drones. If there is a need, if there is a demand out there, Job TT, they would find that need there and they would negotiate on your behalf or try to position you where you can get that job. So, yes, all our training at our institution, through our partnership, we do assessment programs and we do help students be able to allocate jobs that are suitable for them in different areas.
So, as a part of that, you create. So explain to me exactly how that works. You have a relationship with Jobs TT, and somebody who completes the course will what exactly is your role with Jobs TT and that person?
We partner with them. So the fees that the student
Mhm.
paying, that fees goes directly into that program with Job TT.
Okay.
So part of that fee goes back to Job TT, and they go take them through that program. While they're going through our program, they are going through their program in terms of resume writing. They will learn to do resume writing. They will learn how to do interviews. They will have that aspect of training while they are doing our program. And at the end of our program, when they graduate from our program, by then there should be an allocation of a suitable area that they can go and apply their trade.
Has this been in effect specifically as it relates to the drone courses, is it?
Yes, sir. We have put a lot of students in different areas, and when we start off in the early, the majority of Digicel right now, the amount of engineers, fiber engineers are there came from Advanced Solution Technical Institution. We were the only school to provide. We're the only school that has a fiber optic engineering
All
diploma.
right.
We are the only school that have a telecommunication networks associate degree. So we were able to train job specific, industry specific. So when they go there, it didn't take away the need for on the job training, but it gives them the jump. So at least they could say, I can splice fiber. I mightn't be able to drive just
Mhm.
yet, but I can splice fiber. All the training that we ASTI offers prepares the students for what is happening out there. Because sometimes you come and you get a qualification, and the qualification is so far from east from west to what you qualify in and what is required outside there. It's two different things. So the students have to start back all over again for the next few years to get on the job training or to get skill based training. With us, we do the on the job training in our classroom. So if I let's say you're doing telecommunications, yeah, and you have 4 semesters. We take 1.5 semesters through book work. And the next 2 semesters, if not 3 semesters, they're out there working. That's where they have to be. They have to be on the field. They have to get a feel of what is happening out there. You can't be doing book work. Book work does, I mean, I would say not less for you, but it doesn't prepare you. So we tend to create a balance between what we do in the classroom and what they experience in the industry. And the interaction that we have in the drone class, we have a lot of the industry specialists. So we had copters came in and shared concerning the crops and the spraying and the soil and all the different areas. We had somebody who works in the area of a weatherman who understand the weather pattern. They came in and they shared. We had the media, they came in and they shared. So we are constantly interacting with the industry.
Mhm.
to ensure that the students are balanced in all major areas and they are able to think critically and process things critically.
Right.
So, yes, we provide hands on. Yes, we provide the attachment with industry. And in relation to jobs and allocating jobs for our students, we assist them in a big way in that area.
Okay, but and have you had any challenges specific to the drone industry in terms of the availability? Because it's not something in Trinidad, especially, but Trinidad and Tobago, especially, that you see. Because I've never seen Job City advertise a drone job anyway. I could be wrong, but I've never seen one, and I don't know how many other people out there have. So, what sort of opportunities are out there once you complete these certifications?
Which one? Drone certification or all the
No, we're just talking
certification?
specific. Right now, we're focusing on the drone aspect of it and the
All right.
job
So, as I
placements.
said, the market is a new trend. The market is a new trend in Trinidad. It's a new trend. The product is not new. The technology is not new. The application is not
Hmm.
new, but in relation to what we are attempting to do is pretty much new new old in a certain sense. So in terms of allocating jobs, sometimes we not encourage people just to not to allocate jobs, but to create their own jobs. Right? So that's one of the reasons why the process and program take them through that process. That where there are not jobs where there are not jobs to get a job, they can create their own jobs. Because operating a drone, there are so many applications that you can apply in that
Hmm.
area. There are so many areas that I can think about that you being a drone operator and having your own drone and owning your own drone that you can offer the services in those areas. Photography, events, rescue, research, search and rescue. I mean, there is so much that are involved. So while we understand it will take a little process and time to allocate individuals that are looking for drone operators and the market is taking time to develop, jobs can be created by applying your service. For instance, I have a person I'm dealing with right now. They completed one certificate program and I brought in a DJI Neo drone for them. They were influencer. So they went out there and they will do different things. I introduced them to the drone. That drone, they can just tap it up, it goes up in the air, it follows them and everything else. Right now, the person is making money. They are now going to different areas and they are applying the trade, send the drone up, and the drone is taking all the photos, taking all the videos, and doing and put them on, and it is safe. Because as you all know, those DJI Neos, the wings are very
Hmm.
enclosed. So if it falls, it doesn't damage anyone at all, doesn't create any problems at all. And I was able to create a job for that person. And that person is going around now, and other people is hiring that person now to come and because I mean, holding this phone in your hand every minute. Hey, hey, hey. You see a lot of Nyla Blackman doing that. Yay, in the water. I can take my drone, throw it up, and that drone over me, right? Hey, guys, and when they're dancing, when they're doing whatever you're doing, that drone is monitoring you. If you turn this direction, the drone going to this direction. I mean, the technology is enormous, and while we are talking about being sustainable in relation to getting jobs, and that's something that we need to begin to think about. We need to talk about sustainability in creating jobs using these technologies and understanding how to use it and begin to create opportunities and to show providers a different way of doing things in many different ways. And drone offer us that opportunity to begin to create jobs in those areas. So it's not just about providing. Yes, to provide it will take some time, but we get there. But to create a job is more faster.
So you spoke about, well, you mentioned it earlier, where you spoke about some of the other islands in the Caribbean, or some of the other regions in the Caribbean. What
Yes.
the primarily we've been focused on Trinidad and our accreditation agencies and local civil aviation, that kind of thing. What does the institute look like outside of Trinidad?
In relation to other institutions like us training.
No, in relation to the offerings, because you mentioned that you had partnerships or you were present in some other areas.
Yeah, they are now coming into this area in terms of the drones. We have other partners outside that offer a lot of our certification program. We have Jamaica offer our certification program. We just finished Guyana. I'm working directly with the government there. We have Barbados. I'm working directly with the government there. There are other agencies that are offering a lot of our programs outside, and they are now coming into the drone technology. We just signed an MOU with NCTI. That's a government arm in St. Vincent. I went across there. I was part of the conference there, and we are talking right now about the possibility of using drones to be able to in the agriculture sector. They are looking at drones in that area to spray. They are looking at all the different areas of security, and they are asking me to come across there to spread the joy, spread the opportunity, talk about
Right.
it. So I can see this as being a fire being caught. A lot of people are watching what's taking place now, and this is catching up now. People are saying, "Is this possible? Could you come to Antigua? Could you come to Jamaica? Could you come here?" And we say, "Yes, we can come. We can do it." So I
And
can see
mhm.
while it might not be something proactive in the Caribbean countries, it's catching on there, and it will catch on very fast in terms of demand.
Okay, so just to be clear, is this available in Guyana and Barbados right now? Are these courses available in
Yes,
Guyana
sir.
and through?
It is
Mhm.
available. It is available in Guyana. We signed a contract with a company called Titan. We are now setting up structure there to do training and development there in that
Right.
area. So it is there. We are now setting up some structure in St. Vincent. I have a meeting on Monday with them. The possibility of traveling with a drone and demonstrating it across there. So yes, there are activities taking
Okay.
place. In relation to the institutional part of
Hmm.
it, we are not. Some of them are now getting into
Okay.
it.
So for persons outside of those regions that you have an active presence, how could they, if they, they looked at this episode, they're interested in the courses, is there a way for them to participate?
Yes, sir. We are one of the first, also the first institution to make drone training in the Caribbean. We are one of the first institution in partnership with ION to put drone technology out there to anybody in the Caribbean and on the world. We have our LMS, our website. You can register for the introductory, you can register for the certificate, and you can register for the operator's license. And with that, there's payment plans.
Okay.
So you might not be able to afford it
Hmm.
once. You can go up and pay piece, and you can take segment by segment until you complete your training. If there is a need for you to develop skill and you are able to come to Trinidad, if you are able to come to Trinidad, we will facilitate you. We provide very cheap, very reasonable boarding, where you could come and stay instead of staying in a hotel, where you can come here and you could do your practicals, or we use the simulative aspect of it, which is the simulation. You can do that, you can practice that in where you are at, and we could provide the training there extensively to you. Yeah. Or um, if based upon the size of the class, we can travel and we could come up to your country, wherever you're at, and we can offer the practicums
Okay.
there. But in terms of the availability of the
Hmm.
program, yes, it is available online. You can go anywhere. Give us a call at 610 7500 or 485 1835. Give us a call, and I will be willing to guide you through the process of becoming certified or recognized in this particular
And just as
area.
you mentioned it, there's payment plans available in Trinidad as well.
Yes, sir. We also do financial funding, student
Okay.
loans through
Hmm.
GMMB. You can get an immediate student loan from GMMB same
Right.
day or the next day or the next day. We also have payment plans where you can pay piece, and you can take pay for it. Also, we have partial scholarships.
Okay.
So in some cases, we have a big group, a group of five, and they're coming in to do the one class for 12,000. We might give them a partial scholarship and we knock off 4,000 from it, and they get it for 6,000. So we have partial scholarships available also.
Okay. Okay. And just in case, I'm not sure if we mentioned it earlier, but what are the costs of the courses?
Each programs vary. The introductory program is 4,500
PT,
TT,
right?
right? With a partial scholarship, it'll be three
Hmm.
five. The certificate level is 7,200. With a partial scholarship, it'll be 5,500. And the operations operations certification, that's a big one. That's 12,000. It might be raising higher. Might. With a partial scholarship, you get $4,000 off.
Okay. And was the criteria that you have to meet to qualify for a partial scholarship?
One of the things I try to do once they have met all the stipulation, for it is the willingness of the student. The willingness of the student to be able to not to stay in one program, but to move beyond to the other levels. I tend to go through with them and ask them what is their aspiration to be in drones, what are some of the areas they're looking at, and how it will work in terms of their own fears of where they're operating. And from that, we're able to glean and says, okay, you're eligible. So we don't pick and choose and say, you get, you get, you get. I think everybody can have access to it,
Right.
right? Everybody can have access to a partial scholarship, but you just have to be willing to be able to say, look, I'm here to study. I want to go all the way. I want to be able to use this technology to better my country, to better myself, to better my environment.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Dr. Peters, I know we've been running for a little while, so I know how to lay it out in a little bit. But what's next for the institute?
I think partnering is partnering for us now that we have had the levels of qualification, and we are hoping that within the next 2 months we can finish up NTA and close that chapter off, and we can start um, focusing on really going out there, taking the language out there, taking the training out there, and meeting people on the streets, meeting people in different agencies, and talking with them, and sharing with them some of the offerings in different areas, and kind of creating a kind of educational portal, which we already have one, educating the wider public of the usage of drones and how we can aid them and how we can help them and how we can avail in different areas. And we are looking at different partnership in different countries. There might be other training centers, other schools that might be willing to come on board and work with us, that we are willing to offer
Mhm.
franchise. We're able to work in different areas with them because we can't duplicate it. I can't be in Jamaica all the time. I can't be in St. Lucia all the time. But if we find partners there that are willing to adopt the technology and bring that technology to the country, we are willing to work along with them to give them the approval.
Okay. Okay. So all the best in your future endeavors. So
Yes, sir.
the question of the podcast, and this is something that I've asked to all of my most recent guests, just to give a perspective on their journey in through the drone industry, and that is well, specific to you, it would be, what is one thing you wish you knew before getting into the drone educational space that you know now?
Electronics, electronics. I prior to getting involved in the field of drones, while understanding the application and while understanding the usage of drones, I am very somewhat. I'm sorry that I didn't spend a lot of time in really getting into a more deeper depth of technology. It was not afforded to me in my time, and it's still not afforded in Trinidad at that
Mhm.
level. But I mean, meeting you and hearing you, I'm educated by you because you're very versed, and it tells me the platform that you come from is a very, very, very sophisticated area to where I am trained. Well, while I consider myself to be at tier one or tier two, you're at a level of a tier three, tier four, tier five. Because when you speak, sometimes I stay very quiet because there are elements of what you talk about the technology that I was never really open to. So, if for my journey and my space, if I had the opportunity to go back, I will go back and really get into practice in a different space than here. Look for a different space that I can operate and I can learn and really get into the technology and spend some more time understanding it, that will have avail me even more greater to be able to do much more that I'm doing. It's not too late because I have people like you and I have other stakeholders that are out there that I can learn from. I must say that I don't know everything about the technology. There is so much, it's so vast that is way beyond me at times. But one thing that made Alexander the Great great, it wasn't because he had all the skill in the world. It wasn't because he had all the military expertise and training. He understood how to attach and how to network himself to the various resources around his life that give him the capability to be a success. So while I understand my own limitation, my strength comes from my understanding that I need people like you and others that are out there to come in and help me to make this possible, not just for Trinidad and Tobago, but for the whole Caribbean.
Gotcha. Dr. Peters, before I let you go, let people know where they could get in contact with you, get more information, talk to you, talk to the institution, website, social media. Let them know.
All right, good. So y'all can find us very prominently right now. We are doing over our website. So you can find us on Facebook on Advanced Solutions Technical Institute. Once you type in Advanced Solutions Technical Institution, you will see everything there. Our office numbers are 610 7500. For those of you who are outside, is 1 868 610 7500. If you need to get in contact with me or any level of consultation, you can get me at 485 1835. Right? So those numbers again are 610 7500 485 1835, or visit us on our Facebook, yeah, Advanced Solutions Technical Institute, or Instagram. And if you want to visit us at our center, we have 49 Boundary Road, San Juan. That is in Trinidad and Tobago. If you want to do a conference call, just give me a call and you all can reach us here. Give us a call, and there is much we can do for you. We want to appeal to those that are expertise. We appeal to those that are hobbyists. Appeal to those of you that want to get involved in the technology. I believe Advanced Solutions is where you need to be. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Peters,
God
thank you
bless.
very much for joining me
Yes.
on
Yes,
this
man.
episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast. It was a pleasure having you,
Yes, sir.
and we'll be in touch. All
Yes,
right,
sir. And thanks so much for having us. And guys out there, blessings to you.
take care.
All right, bye.
All right.